From time to time, I visit a record fair to do some crate digging. I only do this selectively because musically, I'm something of an omnivore. My vinyl collection is a curious hybrid. On the one hand, it consists of essential classics, albums that truly gain value when experienced on vinyl. On the other hand, it includes records that are simply enjoyable to listen to, where affordability also played a decisive role in the purchase. Occasionally, this approach leads to something genuinely unusual. When that happens, I like to share those finds. This time, the discovery comes from none other than the late Amy Winehouse. So look what I found. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of We're Only in It for the Music, a YouTube series that takes you through the musical universe, from ABBA to Zappa and everything in between and beyond. Click the like and subscribe buttons, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. But enough of that, never mind the bollocks. We're only in it for the music. Collecting vinyl is a rewarding pursuit, largely because you so often come across interesting albums, records with striking artwork, distinctive music, or a story that sets them apart. Today, I want to take you along in one such find, an Amy Winehouse LP. Due to her tragic and untimely death, Amy was unable to leave behind a large body of work. That very sense of scarcity means that devoted fans are eager to own virtually every note she ever recorded. Beyond her 2 official studio albums, Frank and Back to Black, I once came across this bootleg LP, the Ska Collection. So, once upon a time, I visited a record fair. There were plenty of people, plenty of stalls, plenty of records, and I had most likely spent far too much money on black gold. At events like these, you occasionally come across vendors who are not overly concerned with the legalities surrounding the sale of unofficial material, making it possible to pick up the odd bootleg or unlicensed release. I fully understand that musicians are far from pleased with the circulation of illegal recordings, material they have no control over, no say in, and above all, never gave permission to be released. For fans and collectors, however, such records can be an appealing addition to the official titles already lining their shelves. Personally, I am not a dedicated bootleg collector. I only consider buying such releases if the quality is good enough and if the record genuinely adds something to my collection. Browsing through the crates, I came across a striking black and white sleeve, Amy Winehouse, the Ska Collection. The illustration of Amy, the checkerboard pattern, and the reference to 2 soul records immediately evoked the iconic ska label 2 Tone Records. The back cover reinforced that association, featuring classic ska releases by the Specials. During her live performances, Winehouse regularly incorporated ska songs into her set lists, demonstrating that beyond her well-known jazz and soul repertoire, she was also deeply fond of this Jamaican music style. Growing up in London, where the ska and reggae scene remains vibrant to this day, Amy was surrounded by these sounds. Early in her career, she spent a great deal of time with musicians rooted in ska, rocksteady, and early 1960s reggae, and she quickly developed a strong affection for these genres. Songs from her album Frank were occasionally reworked into reggae arrangements or given a ska flavor during club performances. Some ska covers were also captured during informal recording sessions or radio appearances. Neither Amy nor her management ever intended these recordings to be officially released, and as such, they remained tucked away in archives. Following the enormous success of Back to Black, all attention shifted to promoting that album, leaving little room for the release of a handful of ska songs recorded largely for fun. In 2008, an unofficial EP featuring 4 tracks surfaced. Since then, it has appeared in numerous variants, often distinguished only by different vinyl colors. The legal status of these releases, however, never changed. No party was able to secure the rights necessary to issue the recordings officially. These 4 tracks were later released on the deluxe edition of Back to Black, and they make up the A-side of the Ska Collection LP, which is further supplemented by live versions, mostly of the same songs. As such, the Ska Collection is far from a fully fledged album and functions more as a compilation or archival document. Still, it remains enjoyable to occasionally spotlight Amy's ska side, and this record proves particularly effective at parties. My friends, at least, invariably start dancing around the living room the moment this LP goes on the turntable. The collection opens with Monkey Man, made famous by Toots and the Maytals, followed by a reggae-inflected version of Sam Cooke's Cupid. We then hear Hey Little Rich Girl by the Specials, as well as the relatively obscure You're Wondering Now by the duo Andy and Joey, a song dating back to 1964. The highlight of Side A, and perhaps of the entire LP, is the closing track Free Nelson Mandela by the Special aka, performed by Amy during Nelson Mandela's 90th birthday celebration. Side B consists largely of live versions of the previously mentioned studio recordings, with the addition of Ghost Town, once again by the Specials. Opinions on this release vary widely. Some listeners, often audiophiles, criticize the sound quality, particularly of the live recordings, and consequently rate the Ska Collection rather poorly. As a fan of both Amy Winehouse and ska music, however, I find the combination works quite well and tend to listen past the technical shortcomings. That said, an official, properly remastered release would certainly be welcome. There are even recordings not included on this album that would have fit the concept perfectly. Amy's cover of Our Day Will Come by Ruby and the Romantics, which appeared on the posthumous release Lioness, would not have felt out of place here. And the so-called 68 version of Valerie, also featured on Lioness, would likewise have been a fitting and welcome addition to this LP. Regardless of how one feels about this release, and the source material remains somewhat murky, I'm still very happy with this find, and continue to mourn the fact that Amy left us at such a young age. Beyond her 2 official studio albums, her legacy is also kept alive through releases like the Ska Collection. So, my advice? If you ever come across this record at a reasonable price, take it home, slip it out of the sleeve, place it on the turntable, drop the needle, press play, because we're only in it for the music. Oh, wait, I may be getting ahead of myself. And that was the Ska Collection by Amy Winehouse. Have you ever come across this album? And did you end up buying it? Despite its flaws, do you still find it an enjoyable listen? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always curious to hear your opinion. All the music featured in this series is collected in the We're Only in It for the Music playlist on Spotify. The Ska Collection itself isn't available there as a complete album, but I've added as many individual tracks as possible so you can still get a sense of how this LP sounds. Make sure to follow the channel on Facebook and Instagram for updates, because I'll follow you if you follow me. All the links are right below this video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Tell a friend about the channel. Why not? It's always appreciated. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. And in the meantime, drop the needle, press play, and remember, we're only in it for the music.